Welcome, Arm Wrestling fans. I'm Pradeep from Arm Wrestling News, and today we have a very special, very huge guest, both physically and in terms of status, Jerry Cadorette. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Jerry, if you could just switch your phone to landscape mode, it would turn the footage to gold for our viewers. Thanks very much. So I was thinking about not asking you questions that you have already answered 500 times on other interviews. But then I realized that arm wrestling is growing so fast that what you may have said a year ago is completely new for 30% of the audience because it is growing so fast every year, almost doubling in size of every year. This is my assumption. So let's start with how you started. You have mentioned that you were into football, track and field, and baseball when you started. So about track and field, what kind of events were you doing back then in your high school?
I did decathlon in high school, and so there's a multitude of events: shot put, discus, high jump, the 100, the 600. I mean, it was a lot of fun, right? I love the high jump, I love the shot put, I love the discus, I love the javelin. The pole vault was a joke, right? Because they didn't have a pole that would hold me, but so I just needed to get over the introductory height. So it was different. I was athletic then.
You still are. You still are. You kind of looked really jacked against Michael Todd in that WL event. So
yeah.
Since you're in athletics, we have to assume, like you also said, that you were in kind of a good shape, great shape back then. And still you mentioned that you were around 210 pounds, which was huge for back then. Like I have been studying average human weight for quite some time now. And I've seen that in every country, average human weight has increased. Like people about 30, 40 years ago, they used to gain later on in their life. Like they used to gain more muscle mass when they were 30, 35, even 40 years old. But right now, the college athletes, high school athletes are really jacked, over 230, 240 pounds. And you were back then 210 pounds, which was awesome, which kind of translates into why you are, even your walk around weight is so massive right now. So you mentioned that your athletic director was into arm wrestling and he organized an event and there everyone was beating you. So tell us something about that story, Jerry.
Well, I was super competitive in high school, and obviously I still am. I mean, competitiveness stays with you. And so he orchestrates a meet, and it's in my school, and I end up, I enter, and I don't even know if I won a match, right? So the cheerleaders might have beat me, right? And so I took offense to losing, and I hated it. So I ended up, I had to do something about it. So I went down and ended up finding a local place that there was some arm wrestlers that trained there, and worked out with them, learned how to do it, became intrigued in the sport and wanted to become so much better than I was, which didn't seem to be hard since I was at the bottom, right? And ended up working my way up. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And it is a great motivating story for people, for beginner like me, like all of the 70, 80% arm wrestling fans that have recently joined, I would say. Sometimes, like usually when everyone starts arm wrestling, they are the ones when they beat everyone in their school, everyone in their college, their mates at their job place. And when we grip up with an actual arm wrestler, this is what happened to me. And nothing was moving. I was going sideways and his arm was not moving. And then we start thinking like, oh man, I will never be able to close that gap. I'd rather quit arm wrestling. This has happened to a lot of athletes, Jerry. I've been into arm wrestling for about 3 years now, and I have seen multiple guys lose interest just because of that. When they see the gap is so huge, they just quit arm wrestling thinking that they would be never able to close that gap. So that is really motivating from losing to everyone. And what were those guys arm wrestlers whom you lost to?
No, they were just other kids from my high school. And I mean, I feel like everyone has such a better, more cool story about how they got into arm wrestling. Me, I got in because I was a loser, right? And I ended up, I got beat by everyone, right? So I didn't know how to arm wrestle. I thought I was strong. I thought I was athletic, right? And I went in and didn't know what I was doing, right? And so I made sure I learned, and I fixed it.
Yeah, that is really motivating for us. Even Angin Terzi mentioned something like that, that he was losing to his sister when he was 16 years old or something like that. So you can really improve in this sport. So from that part, from losing to guys that were not really arm wrestlers, you mentioned that you won your first arm wrestling tournament in 1989. So from that period, losing to everyone and winning your first competition, what was your preparation? What did you do differently then?
I went and trained with the people that I was talking about. There was at a local level, they were good arm wrestlers, but they're lighter weight. I had Tim Sears, Joe Palermo. Then I had Jose Estamura, right? And all these people were good locally. And my athletic director was Bill Coughlin. And so those people really inspired me and made me want to chase it and learn and put the practice in. And then I went down to a gym. It was in North Attleboro. It was called Muscles Unlimited. And ended up learning technique, skills. And I'd already been lifting and in good shape. So, I mean, if they had said, let's go outside and run a mile, I mean, I'm probably going to win, right? But they said, let's go in and arm wrestle, I'm going to lose, right? So I made an effort to learn how to be really good. And then me and my brother ended up going to go to that meet in 1989 in Chicopee, Mass. And it's at like a New England championship. And I just set my goal at I want to do well at that meet. Didn't think I was going to win, but I said I was going to do well. I wanted to do really well. And, so coming out with a win as my first meet, that was huge. That was, the motivation I needed to say that I was doing the right thing.
So how did YouTube start for you? So before you answer this question, guys, Jerry Cadorrette's YouTube links will be in the description. Please subscribe to his channel. And what motivated you? I know the short answer would be Paul Italia, but who else motivated you to start YouTube?
Are you picking on Paul's height? You said the short answer. I'm just playing, right? I love Paul. My push, I guess, or my excitement for YouTube was I wanted to get out there and talk to people, right? And I mean, I love the sport of arm wrestling. I feel like, as you stated, it's growing exponentially, where you're if anyone that's a fan of the sport, I mean, I used to travel around and pay tons of money to go to 12 to 18 meets per year. And we had to wait till we got a flyer sent to our house. The internet wasn't out when I started. And so now with YouTube growing so huge, I feel like it's a way to get out there in front of everyone. And for me, I feel like it's a way that I'll push myself, right? Because I was doing well with arm wrestling and I got lazy, right? It's easy to get lazy in this sport. It's easy to get lazy in anything, but this sport, is a unique sport. You got to get out there and you got to practice with other people. You got to train differently. The training is not, you just go to the gym, lift weights, and you're going to be awesome, right? So we do weird stuff, right? And which is another thing. But the people make this sport amazing, right? So I've never seen a sport. I mean, I did football, I did track, I did baseball, right? And never seen a sport where the people are so close, right? We're able to make lifelong friends. We're able to make, I've met so many people. Like, I make it a point whenever I go and travel, I put it out there that I'm going to travel and I just want to go and practice with some people because I love the sport. But it's the friends that you make along the way that are awesome, right? And I mean, you may not be friends if you're going against each other on the table, but off the table, I'm buying people beers, I'm hanging out. we're a tight group of friends, right? So it's without the people, there is no sport. And I appreciate the fact that people are so awesome in the sport.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone is awesome. Like I'm having you on my show. I would assume in any other sport, such a high caliber athlete like you would have no business coming on my show. But it is arm wrestling. We can just talk to anyone we want. And this is the luxury that we beginners, that we only have in this sport. Maybe 10, 15 years from now, high level athletes would not be such easily accessible that they would reply to almost each and every one of your comments. So definitely we are lucky. And there is one thing about YouTube and arm wrestling for money in general. I've noticed one thing, that people who don't really arm wrestle for money, who are making good money outside of arm wrestling, they are the ones who have to somehow have to arm wrestle for money, because they're trading their time. And you will never see guys who are making really good money go arm wrestle for free. Maybe some exceptions are there, but they have to value their time. This is why they go on and arm wrestle for money. And YouTube pays nothing, like compared to what you may be making with your business. YouTube may be paying you nothing, but YouTube is something that keeps everyone talking about you. Since you started a YouTube channel, you kind of went underground before that period, and now everyone is talking about you. So this is the good part of YouTube, that I believe. So I was searching. So arm wrestling is not really that big still, but I was searching for Jerry Cadorette on Google, and I found this interesting article. It says on Saturday, it is an old article, Mr. Cadorette, 29, will be defending his title as king at the 25th annual New York City Big Apple Grapple, an open arm wrestling competition staged at the Intrepid Sea Airspace Museum. Do you remember what is this?
Yeah. I remember that meet.
So what happened there? Who were you facing? Who were you defending your title against?
I mean, there was a few good people that showed up. I think Tim was there, Tim Brzenk, and I think I ended up. That was the Intrepid, right? That you said.
Yes.
Yeah. Marcio Barboza showed up. Jason Vale, Tim Brzenk, and then Travis didn't show up to that one, but Travis showed up at the one that was in the, what was it in? It was in Grand Central Station. I did that one too, but that particular one you're talking about, I believe, was Tim Brzenk, Jason Vale, and Marcio Barboza.
Yeah. So one more question for you. There have been some talks about your stamina. Travis Bajan kind of made fun of it, saying that you are probably going to have a heart attack. He was just kidding. But what I have noticed, that you have really, really great stamina. And why do I say that? About, first of all, I wrote a comment under Neil Pickup's video that Jerry just was holding his phone like that for 1 hour straight. That means great endurance. and also against Devon Laird, when you went against Devon Laird, Devon beat you in a very long match in a hook, about 1.5 minutes at least. And still you came back with the shoulder pressed. You had that much endurance left that you beat him the very next round, which was amazing. I have very rarely seen anything like that. So were you always like, did you always have great endurance, or do you still do some kind of workout for that?
I try to make myself build better endurance by the way I train. And I'll train weird things, right? And I'll hold a 45-pound plate with my fingers, with my thumb on the inside, my fingers on the flat side, and hold it out at 45 degrees for as long as I can, right? And for me, it'll last about 35, 40 seconds. And it may not seem like a long time, but at a 45-pound plate, if you're holding it, you'll see that hurts, right? It hurts a lot. And then when I do it, I'll do it again, right? So hold it up straight, then just let it go out straight, holding it at 45 degrees, and just for as long as I can, and anywhere from like 30 to 40 seconds.
Right. So since we were talking about the Devon Laird match, can you explain what happened? I heard you talking about the side of the table. Like usually people say that the guy on the that has the buckle on his hand is at a disadvantage. But I think the exact opposite thing happened in that match. So can you explain what happened, and did the rules play any part in the result of that match?
I think it's the setup that played a huge part in that match. Devon's a smart arm wrestler, right? I mean, he's very technical, he's very savvy, he's very smart. I paid no mind to when we flipped a coin to see which person had which side. I didn't care because my intent was I was going to blow through him. If you rewind back to that day, before when we were getting set up and we were going over the rules and we were in having lunch, me and Devon locked up, and we were really pulling on each other and seeing who was going to be stronger. It was like we were feeling each other out. And I knew I was stronger, right? Because when I did that and I locked up with him, I said, no, I know I'm stronger than him. So psychologically in my head, I was like, I'm gonna win. Then, the coin toss, he wins the coin toss. I was like, I don't give a shit who wins the coin toss, right? And then he says he wants to start on the right side, right? So if the ref is in the middle of the table, right, he's going to start on the right side. So your right shoulder, so the ref is on this side, right? And this right shoulder is on the other side of the ref. In the way WAL did it, they cared about camera angles, right? So as we're on the table, the down refs are actually down off the stage and on the floor away. So they're not standing next to the table, making sure his right shoulder is going to be square. So, and I mean, people are going to say the same thing about when I was on that side because, obviously you're going to try to get away with whatever you can. So it wasn't the person that won. It was the side that won. It was that side of the table won every match.
Yeah, in that match, Devon's shoulders looked like a coil. Whenever Bart presses his back and he leaves his hand, it automatically comes forward. And I think shoulder forward had to play a very big role in that match because both of you were going inside. So whoever had his shoulder slightly forward got the speed advantage and kind of dictated the match from that point. So you were asked, actually, John Brzenk was asked who was his hardest opponent in his career. And he named you that Jerry was my hardest opponent. He was really hard to beat. So if I asked you the same question, who was your hardest opponent in your career?
I'm going to have to say back in the day, I was young, right? And Gary Goodrich was really good. Right. And because he was a heavyweight that had an explosive hit. And his hit was like as fast as Travis's. Right. And so he would be explosive and open up. So he's one of the few people that he amazed me in a sense that he was so fast. Right. And strong, fast. He had it all. It was a good package. And I love watching him and John compete because, I was a kid. I was 22, 23 years old watching these two going at it for first and second place at the Yukon Jack Championship, which was really the beginning for me. And, I said, that's going to be me, right? So, I mean, my first Yukon Jack Championship, I got like fourth, which was awesome. At 22 years old, you're going to come out with fourth. And then the next year I got third. And then the next year I got second. And then I was supposed to win the following year. And then Yukon Jack stopped doing it. So, but me and Gary had a war that last year. So I would say Gary would be up there. And then John was always tough. You're never going to get a quick win on John, because he's so smart and so strong. So we had so many wars, and I mean, he made me give 110%. If I wanted that win, it was going to be, you had to earn it. So, you got Gary, you got John, and then Michael Todd. We never seem to settle the score, me and Mike, right? We're standing about even each other. And if you count the wins on fouls, then you take those out of the equation, I'm definitely ahead, right? Because he's got a few wins on me from fouling. And I don't know, I'd like to settle that score with a real strap and see what happens, because I feel like, that's the unleveling match, right? We need to see who truly is the stronger person, because at the end of the day, he won because of a strap failure, right? And I wasn't in it for the money. I was in it for the hammer, and I was in it for the glory, and I was in it for, I wanted the strongest person to win. And there's no doubt I took the foul, right? I took the foul on purpose because no one's going to be able to win. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't have been able to pin me, and I wouldn't have been able to pin him in the position we were in with the strap that gave loose, right? So to sit there and say that, okay, let's call this person a winner because the strap failed, that's just kind of fucked up.
Yeah, for me, the running foul rule is sometimes really confusing. Like we have seen Devon against Matt Mask. He was sliding his elbow totally off the back of the pad, probably 8-10 inches off the back of the pad. And the match restarted because there was no possible way how he could have put his elbow back up on the table. So there are some events when the match has restarted, and there are some events when the referee just expected you to put your elbow back on the pad. So it is, for me, it is really confusing. And about the Michael Todd match, you were saying that you want a rematch against him. So where that match could happen? Have you gotten any emails from WL? Are they coming back, or could it happen on some other stage?
I wrote out the whole year of COVID waiting for them, right? And in 2020, I had got a contract to pull Mike and as the opening match for WAL, right? So I had that contract. I signed it. We were supposed to go and for the championship, and then so I waited, and then it got pushed forward, right? And then they said, oh, it won't happen this day. It's going to be, the following month. So I said, okay, good, right? I'm fine. I'm just going to get even stronger, right? So I was good then. And then it got pushed again. And then after get the second contract, they didn't do a third one. They just said it's going to be indefinite until we know. And because their film crew is out of California, and with the film crew out of California, the California rules were super strict and wouldn't allow anyone to travel. So, me sitting there waiting, I paid the price, right? Because I didn't want to take any other match. I had nothing but in my mind that I was going to, go against Mike, beat him, take the hammer, and be the champ.
So right now, do you have any contract with them?
No.
So you're free to pull. So do you think this match happening on some other stage other than WL?
Yeah, I don't know if Mike wants it though. And if I was Mike, I wouldn't want it, right? Because why would Mike want that match? Because he knows that he's got nothing to gain, everything to lose, because the last match he gets to walk away with the victory. And me and Mike are good friends off the table, but when it comes to on the table, no one's my friend, right? And so I know Mike isn't going to want to go against me because he's considered to be ranked above me. So for him to go against me and then I beat him is going to put me above him and then just moves him further down. So, I would like to go against him, right, to settle the score, right, because I believe the best person should be ranked ahead, not the person that complained the loudest and got away with a win because I fouled, right? So whatever, we'll see. I still love Mike, but I know my ability, and I know if they had restarted that match, I would have won.
Yeah, I think social media can also play a big role in getting matches in the future. So let me get back to that social media point. You mentioned once that even your doctor asked you once that, can you beat Schoolboy? So how do you see this social media world influencing the future of arm wrestling?
That was crazy, man. I'm in my doctor's office and he's telling me him and his kid, watching the Schoolboy. And I'm like, what the frig? Right. And, but I mean, you're right. Social media is a huge catalyst to move the needle. And I think it's awesome, right? Because now you're going to get in front of all these captive audiences. And it's a way that all us arm wrestlers can communicate with each other, right? Is through social media. Shame on me for not jumping on board like Devon and Michael and whatnot, but I got a real job, right? And I am just now picking up the pieces and trying to put together some type of social media presence. But I'm so appreciative that there's so many awesome arm wrestlers out there. And what a better way to be able to communicate with everyone than through social media and through YouTube and through Instagram and through all these facets. And I got to become a little bit smarter, right? And instead of playing with weights, I got to play with the computer and the phone. And
Yeah. If Paul was here, he probably would have jumped into the conversation and said that I got your back, Jerry. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
He definitely would.
Yeah. So I'll ask you about your future upcoming matches, but you said one more thing about your range of motion. About 6 years ago, 2016, I heard you say that you also have a kind of a bone lock. So can you show our viewers how much can you extend your right arm?
Yeah. Hold on one sec. Right. So don't mind my dirty sink. Right.
No.
So if you'll see my arm, right. That's it.
Right.
Doesn't go any more than that, right? So that's pretty messed up, right? That's a big gap. So then you say, okay, so hold on. Now, if we do it with, how the hell do I do this, right? I can do it with my left arm, but my left arm goes straight, right? So stay straight all the way down.
Completely straight.
So it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
This one, that's it. That's all she's got.
So did you have any injuries or did it come naturally just because of your style? Like it is really heavy on the elbows.
No injuries. Just when I went in and got it x-rayed and they said that that there's so many, there's like growth, right? And it was like, just, they call it like a bursa, right? And almost like an arthritic bursa that grows on there. And they said in order for that to be fixed, they would have to go in, do surgery, and then carve it all off. I said, no, I'm good, right? So we'll just leave it the way it is. I'll be a mirror image of Michael Todd, I guess.
So does it hurt or cause some kind of problems in day-to-day life?
Only thing it causes is a pain in the ass when you try to shave, right? So if you're shaving with your left, I'm good, but my right it doesn't touch the face. Yeah. You got to bring the face down to it.
I can understand, because I've seen a lot of beginners kind of want that thing. They've tried. I've heard people say that they want an arm like that doesn't completely straighten up. So I can see why many beginners, even if they have an injury, they kind of feel good. Hopefully they'll get an arm like that, the veteran's arm that doesn't really straighten up, so they can be even better at arm wrestling. So since you were talking about your job, Jerry, or business, all we know that you are a car dealership owner. So how much time does it take from your daily life? Like many hours do you have to focus on arm wrestling daily?
Focus on arm wrestling?
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it more and more. And actually, I got out of car dealership and I have a RV dealership, right? Okay. So I do campers, motorhomes, and travel trailers, right? So a little bit different, and but same concept, right? And we, it takes up a decent amount of time, but I definitely force myself now to find time to focus on arm wrestling. And arm wrestling is something that's inside, right? It's like you have it deep inside. You love the sport. It's a passion. It's something you truly enjoy to do, right? Like, I don't look at it as a chore. I don't look at it as, oh man, I gotta go do this. I look at it like, oh my God, I can't wait to go do it. I love to leave work and be able to go and arm wrestle and train and do that stuff. I just would love to say I had extra time, but I got a bunch of kids, right? And the kids take up time, and I don't put the arm wrestling in front of the kids. The kids come first, right? And then arm wrestling.
So you recently mentioned that you started training again. We see you doing dozens of curls with 120-pound dumbbells. So when did you start training, and how is it going right now?
It's the beginning stages, right? And I've been at it now about 6 weeks, right? And so 6 weeks in, and I can already see I'm getting so much stronger. I went to arm wrestling practice last night, and there was a whole bunch of guys there, right? And they had a couple people that traveled, substantial distance to come to the practice. And I wasn't sure how I was going to do, because I haven't been practicing on the table with a bunch of people. I've been practicing at home with bands and with weights. And when I was at the practice, oh my God, I actually felt phenomenal, right? And all of them said the same thing. So I just would literally go one after another, after another, after another, after another. And, no issues. I wasn't getting fatigued. I would just let them go whatever way they wanted. I wouldn't go until they went, let them hit me. I'll just catch them, hold them, and then curl them, bring them back in, and top roll, hook, inside press, any and every way. So I love where I'm at, right? I love where I'm at right now. And I only see myself climbing and climbing and climbing. And then you saw me doing the 120s, and I was nervous, right? Because legit, I had just bought those weights, right? The 120s. I didn't have 120s before. I had hundreds. The hundreds I did before in a video, and they were easy, right? So I was super nervous, right? So I get the 120s, and I tell my kid, I'm like, hey, video me doing this. I was like, well, wait, hold on, don't video yet. Let me see if I can do it first. I was like, I don't want to look like a fool in the video, right? So he's like, okay. So I grab it, and I go to lift it, and I'm like, holy shit, that's heavy, right? It says, let me warm up a little bit, right? So I grab the 80s, and I'm doing the 80s, and then I'm trying to table curl, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to get too tired doing that. I says, all right, let's just do this. So then, he's a great motivator, right? My son, he's like, don't be a pussy, Dad. He goes, let's go. You can do it, right? And I'm like, you don't want to look bad in front of your kid. I was like, you're right. I'm going to crush it, right? So he goes and does, I grab it, and I do it. And as you see, I did 15. And I went all the way down because I knew he was going to have it on video. So I made sure to go all the way down, just about touch the table, then go all the way back up. And I wasn't jerking my whole body. I might have moved a little bit, but I was trying to do them pretty strict. And I know I could have done 20, right? But I did 15, and I was in shock because in my mind, I was going to do 10. Then when I hit 10, I was like, oh, I'll just do 12. Then when I hit 12, I was like, all right, do 15. Then I hit 15, I was confused, right? So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really liked it since you mentioned that you kind of wanted that to look good. Like you wanted your best to show on camera, which is right also. Like I've seen many people post on Facebook, and they would be absolutely shitting themselves in their, looks like that it is their max lift, and they would write it was their last set and 10th repetition, sort of something like that. Why would you post your last rep and 10th repetition when you're absolutely shitting yourself trying to lift that weight? I've seen a lot of people do that. They're posting their max curls or max lifts and presenting them as their last set.
Yeah, right. That was my first set, right? And I made sure I was 100% healthy when I did it. right? Like I wasn't going to be fatigued. Why would you put a video up there if you're fatigued, right?
Yeah, right. So I don't know if you remember this or not, but in 2016, you said that you had a goal for yourself. You mentioned it in 2016 that you have written on your mirror that you want to be 285 pounds and below. So what happened to that goal, Jerry?
I know. I fight with myself daily, right? Because for longevity, right, in a health perspective, it makes more sense to be lighter, right? And yet me and food, we are best friends, right? So I can't catch myself not eating or being on a diet or being that person, right? I like to eat, I like to be big, and I like to be strong. I just don't know if I can mirror the two and be under 300 pounds and psychologically still be in the place I'm in right now, right? Because as it is right now, right around 330, right? And I feel like I'm so strong, right? And I don't want to give up that psychological edge where it says, okay, if I drop down to 290, can I still be that strong? I would love to put myself there and get there and see. I dropped down to 315. And when I was 315, I would have people say, wow, look like you lost weight. And I'm like, oh my God, do I look weaker? Right? I was like, if I look weaker, I'm going to go eat. No, you know what? Someone get me a steak and cheese sub. Right? And so I don't know. I should get there from a health perspective, and my doctor says it to me all the time, right? But I think I'm not prepared to go there yet until I kick Levan's ass.
Right. Yeah, I got a lot of questions. I'll get to the questions later on, the fan questions that they wanted to ask you. But since you mentioned Levan, so a lot of us know the story about the cars that you were ready to bet your car against Levan. So, but still, as I mentioned, newer audience coming every day. So can you mention that story? What happened to that match?
Yeah, we were on a podcast or a video chat, and we were all talking, and I happened to be in my garage, and I like cars, right? I mean, I was a car dealer, so I'm into cars, right? I got a new S8 Mercedes, the ZR1 Corvette, whatever, right? Doesn't matter, right? They're all cool cars, right? An Escalade. So it was like a Cribs episode, right? And me half, just being a dick, right? I said, Levan, let's pull for a car. Well, they said, is that your car over there, Jerry? And I'm like, obviously it's my car. What do you think? I'm in someone else's garage, right? And then I said, yeah, which car you want, Levan? I'll pull you, for whatever one. And he's like, oh, yeah, I would do that, right? And I says, well, what do you drive? And at the time, he was driving like an H3, right? And I'm like, well, you're going to have to get a real car first. It says, you put up an H3, it's like paying the sales tax for one of my cars, right? But I don't know, I was just being a jerk, right? But if it was, of equal value, then I'd be okay with it, right? Because I think I do have a real shot of beating him. I believe in myself, and I've watched him, right? And the way he competes and the way I compete, he's not going to be ready for me. I'm a fast hit, right? I hit fast, and he's not super fast. He's just super strong. But the way he's strong, he goes outside, right? He wants to open someone up. I'm willing to give that up and go inside. And I'm not saying he's not strong. I know he's super strong. I know he's phenomenal. I know he's a beast. He can't be ranked number one and not be a beast. However, the competitive side inside me, I feel super confident that with me training and me being super strong, that I'm going to be too much for him when I get inside on his arm and he lets me get my shoulder behind my arm. Anyone lets me get my shoulder behind my arm, I don't see them winning.
Yeah, I was also about to mention the speed part in that, because if you get to go first into your position, probably I can see Michael Todd may be the only person who can hold you for some time near the pad, because it is his strongest position. And I believe in that pronated open top roll position, Michael Todd can be the strongest arm wrestler in the world in that position. So do you think Levan will try to go outside against you? What if he decides to grab a little bit lower and go inside?
I would love for him to go inside with me because, again, he's not fast, right? And for him to go inside, it's going to be the same mistake that Michael Todd made. He tried to go inside with me a couple of times, and look what happened to Michael. I beat him in a second, right? 1 second, right? He goes inside, boom, blow right through him. So he's like, okay, yeah, that was a very bad idea. Let's go a different way, right? And so I just think that, and I'm sure Levan's stronger than Michael inside, right? But I'm confident in, you have to be confident in your own ability, right?
Yeah.
If you're not confident in your ability and you think that there's a chance you're going to lose, you're going to lose because the body does what the mind tells it to do. You know, if your mind says you're going to win, you're going to win, you're going to win, the body's going to make sure it tries and wins. If you think that there's a chance you're going to lose, then the body's going to lose, right? So in my mind, I'm going to win, right? And if you're not in it to win it, don't compete.
Right. You were mentioning the round against Michael Todd where you flashed him really fast when he tried to go inside, because he had been mentioning for a very long time that he may go inside. He will not use his king's move, and this is what he tried against you in the round one. In round one, and it didn't really work out. Similar thing happened with Todd Hutchings also in round one. He's strong inside, not Levan strong maybe, but he's also really strong, and he couldn't even engage his power. Maybe he did engage, but you were still really powerful for him, and you flashed him also off the go, and he even tried to go outside. So yeah, I can see that the inside route can be difficult against you.
Yeah, I just think that unless you're gonna be faster than me, which I think at a heavyweight class, you know, a lighter weight class, there's obviously people that are super fast, but when you go in the super heavyweight class, you're losing the speed. People are not super fast, right? And that's one of the things I have going for me is I can get into my position super fast.
Yeah, I've a couple of questions left for you before we move on to the fans' questions. Would you like to compete in King of the Table organization, and have you been contacted by them yet?
I would definitely love to compete there. They have not contacted me, right? Probably afraid I'd screw everything up, right? Because I go over there, I'm not going to run away from Levan, right? But I would love to get in on it. I don't know how I think they picked their participants based on social media followings. And so I need your help. Let's build my social media following so I can go over there and kick their ass.
Yeah, I'll definitely cut some parts of the videos and I'll send you so that you can post it on your channel as well. Maybe this Levan part. So I want to ask you about one match. And before I get to that match, a lot of people, I've seen at least 20-30 comments about you versus Ermes Gasparini. So if that match, you versus Ermes and you versus Alex Cordecha. So versus Ermes and Alex, how do you see those two matches going?
I think Ermes has been coming a long way. You know, he's put some weight on, he's put some size on. He was impressive against Gennady. I had picked that match to go the other way. So he really impressed me with that match. And I love the fire in Ermes. I was there when he went against Matt Mask, right? Because that's the day I went against Todd Hutchins. So I had the pleasure of meeting him afterwards, and he's a stand-up dude. I really like him, right? And I would love to go against him. I think, you know, at the level he's grown to be at, I think it'd be a good matchup.
And you versus Alex Cordecha?
Yeah, I mean, that guy's a beast, right? He's super short, right? But no, I'm just kidding. What is he? He's like, what, 6'8", right?
Yeah,
And,
6, 7, 8, something like that.
yeah, whatever, right? You get up that high, you stop counting, right? So I'm going to bring a step ladder when I go against him, right? And a pair of scissors, I'm going to cut his hair. No, I'm just playing. But I think that match would be cool too. But he's another one that he's actually pretty quick, but he goes outside, right? So I think he's just a bigger version of Travis, right? So we all know what happens in that match, right? Is I'm gonna blow through, and I think if he's able to stop me, and if he does, I'm gonna have so much pressure and weight outside, and I'm not a quitter, right? I know I need to last. I only have to last 1 second longer than my opponent, right? So in my mind, it's just 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. And I take that 1 second at a time. So I think if he was to stop me, I'll be in a strength position. And I think I can prove to be victorious.
Yeah, we have seen in the past that Alex Kordecha had some troubles when against the flop press. Even Ongarbayev and Krasimir were able to flop press through him, even from this position. So if you get in this position really quickly, and we have seen that Alex has gotten really strong in the past couple of years, but it was his weakness, that open arm top roll position that he was put in those two matches. It was his weakness. And I believe that your weakness kind of stay your weakness throughout your career. You may improve on them, but still compared to other parts, it stays the weakest part in your game. And you could really exploit that weak part. And I genuinely want to see that match, Jerry. So let's move on to the next. I don't want to ask you about Levan versus Devon because you have answered that question, in my opinion, a couple of times already. But somebody asked me that who do you think has a better chance against Levan, you or Devon?
I do, right? And I think Devon mentally is the smartest arm wrestler on the planet, right? And I believe he'll sit there and he'll study and he will learn exactly what he wants to do against his opponent, and he'll practice relentlessly, right? So he never gives up. And I don't think anyone puts more time and effort into a match than Devon. The thing I see with Devon, though, is he going to come in big enough and strong enough, right? So me, I'm already big, right? So at 330, I can go to 340, right? Can Devon hit 300, right? That's going to be, I say, the magic number. And, because Devon, again, smart, but for someone Levan's size, you need to be able to match your strength, right? And Devon, we know, is not strong in a weight room, right? Devon is strong on a table. So let's see if table IQ, how it compares to table strength. Because Levan is table strength, Devon is table IQ, right? And so me, I'm not going to be as smart as Devon, but I'm stronger than Devon. So, and I think I'm smarter than Levan when it comes to competing. I've been doing it a lot longer. So I just think that there's more in my favor to go against Levan than in Devon's favor to go against Levan. But again, there's nothing being taken away from Devon. He's awesome at what he does. And, I told him myself, I've reached out to Devon and told him, please make sure you come in at 300 pounds or heavier, right? And ready for this war, because I want to see Devon win. But, if he wins, then I need to go against Devon. But I would love to see me go against Levan, more so than Devon.
Right. So if you were to answer that question in just a couple of words, who is winning that match? Levan versus Devon Laird. And with what score?
Depends on what Devon weighs in at. If Devon weighs in at 300 pounds, then Devon's winning, right? If Devon comes in in the 280s, Levan's winning.
Okay. I'll ask you about a couple of more matches. John Brzenk versus Hadzimurat Zoloev is going down on February 12th in Istanbul. So you have faced both of them. You have lost to both of them. About Hadzimurat Zoloev, it was a weird story. And You have beaten both of them. So how do you see that match going?
Well, Zoloev is obviously much younger than John, right? And my loss to him was in an overall when I was beat, right? And I went to that meet not in good shape, but whatever, a loss is a loss, right? But I redeemed myself and won 6-0, right? So I think he is an absolute beast, and I don't know at John's current condition how he would compare against John when John was younger, right? Because I went against John when he was at his best, right? And John at his best versus Zoloev, I would pick John all day, right? But at this point in the game, I think you're going to see a war. And if it's a war, I don't know if John has enough in the gas tank to beat him after I saw his match with Devon, right? So as much as I am going to be rooting for John, I think he has to end it quick. If he doesn't end it quick, it's going to be Zoloev.
Right. And next match, a little bit controversial, good for the views. So RVJ versus Ryan Bowen.
Well, RVJ lives about an hour from me, right? An hour drive. RVJ is strong, right? Ryan Bowen is dedicated to arm wrestling, right? I think he definitely spends more time arm wrestling, but RVJ is just one of those people that's a natural phenom, right? And the funny thing with RVJ, he found arm wrestling after he was doing like these weird feats of strength. And the Badger Drews had found him, and he was bending railroad spikes with his hands. I mean, think about that. The dude's bending railroad spikes with his hands, right? And this is before he knows about arm wrestling. And I felt RVJ. So if RVJ goes in as strong as RVJ is, RVJ can be his own worst enemy, right? If in his head, if he does the wrong thing, he gets screwed up, right? So he needs to stay focused and go after this match with the intensity that I know he can if he wants to win, right? I've seen RVJ lose to Craig Toulier at Mohegan Sun, and RVJ was the better arm wrestler that day. But Craig went in with the mindset he was going to win, and he took out the win. And so I believe it'll be RVJ should win if he goes in with the mindset that he's in it to win it and he's going to give 100%. But the slightest bit off, if he's off even the slightest bit, then if Ryan Bowen gets in his head and beats him one match, then it's going to be Ryan.
Right. So, and RVJ has been taking it seriously, definitely a way more seriously than the Sasho Andreev match. He has posting training videos. He's going live on YouTube. So I'm really happy to see that. And I hope it will be a great match. So let's now get to the fans questions part. I'll get to the most popular, most upvoted comments first. Was Jerry always a flop wrist presser, or did he develop this technique over time? And when did he start using it?
I think it was more accidental in the beginning, right? And it was more of I put myself in a bad spot, and I did it, and I finished, and I won the match, right? So it was where I committed fully to a hook, dove inside, and my opponent committed fully to a top roll, and then I gave up my wrist accidentally, right? Not on purpose. And but I committed to a hook, and now it ended up being a press, and I was shocked at how it worked out, right? And I like to position myself almost like a slingshot move. So I'm contorted in a position where my foot's up on the peg, my body's turned completely in the other direction, and then I have to force it back. So on go, it just naturally wants to spring forward. And I think that helps me commit to the move, right? And I've found that over the years and the time in the beginning, when I was able to perfect it, that it was somewhat unstoppable, right? So then I just changed my training up and went after it.
Yeah, I think what makes you such a dangerous arm wrestler is it that you just don't only have the flop wrist press. So if you had only that move, people would try to grab you low. But for them, as a surprise, you also have a great shoulder roll. So when they try to do that, you have a shoulder roll to follow up. So there is no one fixed way to beat you. Like if they grab you low, you have an answer to that. If they try to go over the top, you have an answer for that as well. So the second question is, my question would be fairly obvious one. So sorry guys, I cannot take everyone's name here, but I'll mention that in the video. If Jerry was to be invited to Dubai and asked Adam or Larry who he wanted to pull, who would he choose?
Who?
Who would you want to pull at King of the Table if you were invited there?
I'll pull anyone, right? I mean, if it was the match where Devon was going against Levan, I couldn't pull one of them. So I'd say the next match would be Ermes, right? And or Alex, right? But I think Ermes and I would be a good match, right? Because again, I like his fire, I like his passion, I like his commitment. I like him, right? And I respect him off the table, and I'd like to go against him on the table, and see where we match up.
I really love to see the respect that you have for Hermes. In the top 5 North American arm wrestlers, you may be the only person who respect Hermes Gasparini.
If you have to respect him, right? I mean, the guy gets so fired up, right? And he is passionately driven. If you're not passionate about winning and driven to succeed, then don't do the sport, right? I mean, people hate winners, right? So that's stupid, right? And I like winners, right? And I bet against them. I bet on Gennady to win. And then when he proved me wrong, when he beat Gennady, I became an Ermes fan, right? So, I got corrected. I was wrong, right? And it was the only one I got wrong on that card too. But so now to redeem myself, I says I got to go against him, right?
Yeah, I also made a prediction about that card, and I predicted that match exactly. I said that Hermes is going to top roll him, but he wouldn't be able to finish him just with a top roll, maybe once or twice, but not in all rounds. Then he's going to follow up with a shoulder press. This was my prediction for about 2-3 months before the match. And since somebody mentioned that Ermes Gasparini has been injured in his right arm and he's looking for a left arm match against Gennady, I changed my prediction at the last moment. And then I regretted it. I shouldn't have changed that prediction. So the next question is, I've got a lot of question about your lifts since you started posting your lifts on your YouTube. What are Jerry's 3 most important lifts in the gym for arm wrestling training?
I like I told you already, I grabbed the 45-pound plate, right? My fingers go on the back side, the smooth side of the weight, and I hold it out, right? So it's at a 45-degree angle, and then just literally hold it out for as long as possible, and then curl it back up with my hand. That's my top one.
Okay.
And then I like I've worked my triceps super hard, right? And so I'll do the skull crushers with the 2 45-pound plates on the preacher bar, right? So it's 90 pounds on each side, so 180. I think the bar is 25 pounds, so it's 205 pounds. And do skull crushers, so they come down and literally touch my eyebrows and go back up. And I'll do those for 15 to 20. And then immediately when I'm done with those, I go into a close grip bench with them and do another 15 to 20, right? So that's my second one. And then my last one, it would be I do the 100-pound dumbbell concentration curl inside my leg, right? So I'm sitting on the bench and then literally have the dumbbell, and I do curls inside my leg, so there's no cheating.
Right. So I got a lot of questions about your bench press also. Like somebody asked, what has been your best bench press? I heard you mentioned somewhere that you would try to do a 225 single arm bench press. So what is your best bench press till now?
I haven't done the 225 with one hand yet, right? That's on my bucket list. I got to hit it, right? I set the goal, so I'm chasing it, right? And but I have not tried it yet. I tried it last year and missed it, right? So I have yet to try it this year. I think I'll try it within the next couple of weeks. So with me, with bench, because I lift in my garage, right? So a lot of times it's either my son's with me or I lift alone. And so I do, it's weird, right? So I do 225 for 50 to 60 reps, boom, 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 nonstop. Works on stamina. Then I go to 315 for about 25. And then I'll do 405 for 10 or 12. And then I'll finish with 25 225s, right? So for me, it's doing stamina, and I do them strict, right? So whatever. I think you've probably seen some of the videos, right? So there's a video out there of me doing 225 for 60. There's a video of me doing it for 55. There's a video of me doing 315 for 30. So it's unique, but for me, it's about stamina, right? So anyone can get down there and say, okay, what can I lift one time? Who the fuck cares what you can do once, right? I care about how many times I can do the same exercise, because if I get in a long match, I want to make sure that I'm strong enough to finish that match, right? And I think that's one of the things that I attribute to having longevity and stamina.
I heard that statement when I was a kid. Somebody asked that, what should I do to get strong? 1 rep maxes, like higher weight, lower reps, or lower weights, high reps. And that guy answered that you should do high weight and high reps if you want to get strong.
That's true.
Yeah. And Devon Siplenkov wanted to ask if you own a Tesla.
I don't. I like the new Tesla Plaid that came out because it's faster than my ZR1. And I'm tempted to get rid of the Audi S8 to get the new Tesla Plaid, right? Problem with the Tesla Plaid is you have to order it, right? And you have to wait. So that means you have to have patience. I have zero patience. I buy what's on the lot, right? So the new Tesla Plaid's 1.9, 0 to 60. And so that's fast, right? And the part that sold me on it is it drives itself, right? So I'll be a buyer for it if there's one in front of me, and I'll get rid of my Audi S8, right? The Audi S8's a badass car, though. 605 horsepower, all-wheel drive. You know, it's a nice car, right? The 0 to 60, though, is 3.2. But as you can tell, I'm kind of a car buff, right? But I had the GTR, was a sick car too. And I got rid of that to go for a Corvette Z06, right? Because I like convertible, and the GTR is a hardtop roof. But I've had my fair share of cars.
Yeah. I'm kind of into motorcycles more. So I know, like, for almost all of the motorcycles, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, but I have no clue about cars. Yeah. So Jerry, there was a match scheduled for East versus West event. Marcio Barboza versus Artem Morozov from Kazakhstan. Marcio got COVID, so Morozov needed a replacement. And Thomas is asking, why did Jerry refuse to pull Morozov when they needed a replacement for Marcio?
They asked me to do it, and there's a couple reasons I said I couldn't do it. One, anyone that knows me knows I just took a vacation and went to Cancun, right? So I was literally in Cancun a week and a half ago. And so for me to put in a second vacation just 3 weeks later, it'd be difficult for me, right? And because I have a business to run, and it's tough, right? But then number two, my kid's birthday, right? I'm not going to go miss my kid's birthday to be out there for that match, right? My mom's birthday is also, it's February 10th, right? Then the 22nd is my birthday. And then my kid is also right there too. So you got all that. It's got to be family first. And not only that, but for 3 weeks, to give me 3 weeks notice to take a big match, I'm not against it, but to travel to Turkey to go for that match and with 3 weeks notice, I want to give people the best version of Jerry that they're going to see, right? And I know that I'm about 5-6 weeks away from hitting the level that I want to be at. I'm strong right now. There's no doubts. Would I go there? I probably would be all right and I'd win. But why go there if I'm not going to be 100%, right? I want to go there the best possible Jerry that I can be, and to show everyone in the world, what is a strong Jerry? What is Jerry capable of doing? We haven't seen that in so long, because I've always half-assed trained, right? So I'm finally giving it a real go, and I want to see where I level up.
Right. So a couple of more questions. And somebody asked, what is the most Jerry has weighed? Second part of question you have already answered. He asked, does he feel that his strength is proportional to his weight? You have already answered that. So what is the most that you have ever weighed?
Most I ever weighed was 338.
338. And I wanted to ask you this question in the beginning. I forgot. So what is your record in the WAF Championships? It is kind of sad that still, if I just want to search Jerry Cadorette's record at WAF, no such result would come up. You have to go and search manually every year who won, who lost, who placed where. So can you tell us this? Nobody asked this question. I personally wanted to know this because it is kind of hard to find. Yeah,
Are you talking about for the World Championships?
Yeah, WAF.
The World Championships?
Yes.
I've won 3. Mm-hmm.
And in which year?
1996 was my first one. It was in Virginia Beach, right? Then in 2000, I won the next one again in Virginia Beach. And then it was 2004, I think, was the last one.
Okay. And one last question, Jerry. How was the dinner tonight?
The dinner was good. It was date night with the wife. And we went to a local place. It was a Rigna. I got a steak and I got buffalo wings for my appetizer. Right? So kind of a weird combination, chicken and meat, right? And then had a couple espresso martinis to wash it down.
Yeah, we already know that Jerry, when he retires from arm wrestling, is going to be a competitive eater, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jerry, for joining this channel, this video chat tonight. And I wish you great 2022, both in terms of your family and your business, your job, and in arm wrestling. Have a great luck, buddy. And thanks for coming again.
Thank you very much. Make sure you hit the subscribe to my channel so you can grow this sport.
Definitely, guys. Subscribe to Jerry's channel and like this video. Share it everywhere you can. Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks very much, man.